Okay, take three because I cannot always speak. So, welcome to Critical Weight Theory, where today we're going to be looking into the memory files. I'm going to open the vault, so to speak, on sci fi television that tried to ask bigger questions and didn't always give easy answers. So, today I'm looking at the pilot episode of Earth Final Conflict titled Decision. Now, I would be lying to you if I said that I had seen this show when it came out originally. I did sometimes watch cable at my grandmother's house, and I probably saw ads for this show, but it's one of those shows that I missed for better or for worse. And the episode aired on October 6th, 1997, and served as the launch pad for a series created from the archived ideas of Star Trek visionary Gene Roddenberry. So I did watch some episodes of Star Trek, especially Star Trek The New Generation, when it was, you know, on during my younger days. But this show it's just something that I didn't quite see at the time. And make no mistake, this is a very different kind of future, as is so often the case in sci fi movies and TV shows. So there's an arrival here. There's, an alien arrival. Imagine a future Earth where the aliens don't invade, though. They just arrive. They don't conquer, they offer. The Talons call themselves companions, and the word fits, at least on the surface. It comes from, the word companion comes from Latin, com meaning with, and panis meaning bread or food. So a companion is someone you break bread with, someone you trust. And sure enough, these aliens do seem very trustworthy. It's said that they've even helped foster, or they've helped foster a new era of peace in humankind. So, where's the conflict then? I don't know. These aliens offer miracles in medicine, energy, peace, world peace, and humanity accepts it by and large. But not everyone is convinced. And that's when you enter the resistance, because even with gifts, there's always a cost. And the Talon's true intentions still very much unknown to some people out there. And, that's the cause of suspense here, is that some people do not trust these seemingly benign aliens. We meet Police Captain William Boone, a military vet and seemingly principled man. He's been assigned to protect the Talon ambassador named Dan, or Daan, or something like that. It's Daan. And there's also a tech mogul named Jonathan Doors, and they're at a high profile event, and that's where there's some chaos that suddenly happens. A sniper takes a shot at Dan, however that name is pronounced, and Jonathan Doors jumps in the way. He's seemingly killed, and the shooter ends up being Boone's old army buddy, Eddie Jordan. And the incident sets off a chain reaction that's, a little bit of a bumpy ride, unpredictable. And Daan offers Boone a position to become his protector, a liaison, which is a fancy word. It's French sounding word, so it sounds fancy. Boone says no, originally. He wants to stay grounded and, human, aligned with the human types, and he chooses his family over politics at first, but then Boone's wife, Kate, is killed in a weird car explosion. And, spoiler alert, but, this show's from 1997, so Uh, you know, I don't think spoiler alerts are as necessary for a show that's that old. But anyway, the car explosion is one of the most over the top moments in the episode because the assassin just seems so gleeful to to be killing Boone's wife, and officially it's an accident, but nothing about it feels accidental because we get to see the assassination, the apparent human being who killed her, and he's like overjoyed about it. It's actually kind of funny, to be honest. Like I didn't expect to laugh um, in at such a thing taking place, but it's you'll just have to watch the scene. And the death of his wife makes Boone change his mind. So there's a little bit of an eeriness to, I guess, those events, but to me it was more humorous than eerie or spooky or scary. I just I just couldn't help but like laugh at the weird acting of the assassin of Boone's wife. It was like a highlight of the episode. But anyway, Boone accepts the job. He receives a cyber viral implant, which is half alien biotech, half mind altering chip. Suddenly, his thoughts aren't entirely his own, at least, theoretically. It seems like he has the hookup, though, to retain more of his original personality and thoughts. And I guess the fear is that if he does get these weird implants, I mean, one goes like on his arm, and then there's some other stuff that they do to him. But it's a freaky process, and I could definitely understand somebody not trusting it. And you get to wonder how much of his judgment is going to be his own after this process takes place. Will he just be part of the alien legion and all that kind of stuff? So as he begins to navigate life with the CVI, Boone is pulled into a new reality. One foot with the Talons, one foot with the Resistance, and a seemingly long war begins that is somewhat quiet, slow, psychological, though with occasional explosions and shootouts perhaps. So it seems like Boone will not be making any decisions on his own, even though he probably, the character thinks of himself as a strong character. So you have to wonder, like, what's the cost of his decisions? And that's probably what the title of the episode is about. So it is a pilot, but it's also almost like a thesis statement for the series. It posts the central question of the series: can you accept progress if you don't trust the source? And what's the price of saying yes? And these are, the resistance. There are characters who are going sort of against the grain by distrusting the Talons, as they're called. But we'll see how this pans out if I continue watching the series. And of course, the original viewers of the series would see how events unfolded as well. It does touch upon the ambiguity of ethics in a world with no clear right or wrong. And there's a lot of questions about the validity of the resistance. Like, are they what are they basing it on? Just distrusting people or aliens because they're different? I guess they're technically not people, even though they're humanoid. They're just different. And you get into possibility that they're just othering these aliens. So, frankly, I'm not fully with the so called resistance myself, at least in this premiere episode, because the Talons seem to be well intentioned. So, in a way, this episode almost seems to hint at xenophobia perhaps being correct. I don't know. So it ends up being a little bit ambiguous. I said ambiguous, weird there, but you know what I mean. And is it a common fault to question the ethics of people just because they are strangers? And that's really, I think, a very relevant theme to a lot of events going on in, well, not just today's world, but throughout human history. So in Earth Final Conflict, nothing is black and white. There are just shifting shades of alliance, autonomy, and manipulation. Boone doesn't really become a hero, he becomes a question mark, and I'm sure there will be plenty of callbacks to this episode if I do continue to watch the series. And, you get the issue of companions and control. Like, what exactly are they doing? The episode kind of makes it a little unclear about where exactly they stand in terms of how much sway they have over the population. They actually don't seem like a malignant force exactly. In fact, they almost seem like the good guys, really. So, like Alien Nation before it, Earth Final Conflict uses the alien metaphor to probe deep questions about trust, identity, and power. I would say the show starts with a whisper and not a bang, but there actually is an explosion and an assassination and some twists and turns here and there. Still, there's no obvious war at the start and no obvious invasion. It's almost like humanity's instead shaking hands with these aliens, and the resistance is frankly making some weird and almost perplexing decisions that seem to imply that they might have some bigoted distrust. So Boone's journey is just beginning, and so is ours. So is mine if I wish to continue watching the series. We'll see if I do follow up reviews. I might. There's a there's a chance of it. So anyway, that's about all I have to say about this episode, and thanks for listening. Wow, 13 minutes. I didn't think this was going to be over 10 minutes long, but there you have it. And we'll see where I you know end up aligning myself if I do continue watching this series. So all right, have a good day.